I was writing them because I'm like, man, how do I win? No, I'm going for joy. They're gonna have your eyes or her ears or something like that. I'm definitely funnier than this poem leads on. Maybe. My girlfriend wants no less than 3 children, maybe 5. And who can deny a nation in their name? A self kaleidoscoping into many cells, a recognizing at every dinner table with progeny that are spitting image. A mother is my mom, a third rib broken, reminds me her nest is empty, her first hatched awaiting the resurrection after the fire. Does what she can to make sure I neither fly too close to the sun or become it. In the wasteland of our grief, she almost says my brother's name, and it's both the venom and the serum by now. I wish she'd said it, that I could unload the what ifs I had tucked underneath my tongue all these years. What if my child is born in my brother's reflection? What if he smiles with his dimples and paranoia? What if he laughs and grips the wood door posts as he enters a room and never a careless black boy? What if he trusts nothing? What if not even me? What if this is all my brother's birthright and I happened upon it, Jacob to Esau, where I still wear his hand-me-downs? What if he grows to a brother-shaped son that hears the whispers bequeathed him? My mom to call him what feels right, and I to watch him on the ledge twice. And what if I save him once and never again? Hi, I'm Matt Pitts, and this is The Versus. It's all things that are from my personal life. It's a fairly personal poem. I think when I think about the concept of like identity and kind of what maybe envelops like the person that I am. So there is a line, what if he's a brother shaped son? And I think about that a lot, just because fairly recently, I found some other family that I didn't know I had. Like she has 2 sons and a daughter. And her children actually they look like us. They look like myself, my brother, and my sister. And it was such an interesting like experience, but it was a very visceral one too, because I you then think about when me and my wife, when we're going to start our family, or when we're starting our family, the people that they will look like. I think you always go the immediate jump of, okay, they're gonna have your eyes or her ears or something like that, but you never think like, okay, they're gonna look like people you're related to as well. I just start thinking, taking your mind down that pathway of what are all the different branches that your family tree is going to turn off into. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm definitely funnier than this poem leads on. Maybe. So don't go thinking I'm super visceral. I feel like a lot of times, like I think most of my work now, when even in the process of writing it, I'm going for joy, and the things that bring me joy aren't like um, I wouldn't say, like wholesome in nature. They're typically kind of like funny in nature, or something that's like abstractly funny. Maybe over the line in a lot of cases. There's some poems that are absolutely over the line, which makes the times where my work does go in that direction, it feels a lot more important to me. So the poem itself is really, really important to me because it's probably the one that it forces me to reflect on the future the most. In a lot of respects, I kind of try to run away from the actual seriousness of a lot of the content or a lot of the things I create. Like I typically like kind of write those serious poems essentially to get them out my system. So I'm like, they're not there anymore. And I can kind of put them on the side. When, I was approached to do this project, one of the things that I really wanted to challenge myself with was doing something that made me feel vulnerable. I think one of the things that poems, or at least maybe even like performing poems or putting poems out into the world and presenting them to people. Even somewhat in the open mic space, but I think probably a lot more in slam. It's created a competitive nature to your stories. It's created a space where, you know, you sit down and maybe before when you were writing poems, you were just trying to get, your thoughts out there. Maybe you were like, you're going through something, or there was like a mountain that you had to travail. Maybe there was something that was like cutting you deeply that you don't even necessarily, maybe it's not even necessarily healing you, but you want to show the wound, right? And I think that what it turns into for a lot of people is, man, how is my poem gonna win in this space? Like when I was invested in like slamming poems, I was like, I wasn't writing things for the same reasons that I would have written them years before that. I wasn't writing things because this is something that really interested me. I was writing them because I'm like, man, how do I win? It even creates the culture of like, okay, like I've heard this poem I've heard this person write this kind of poem, so let me write that kind of poem, but better. It's a very cyclical kind of space because now you have to one up yourself even, and so it almost stops it from being like genuine creation altogether. I've been in rooms with people that are really, really big in the poetry community, and I'm thinking to myself, man, like that person, like when these people leave this show today and they go home, they're gonna remember that poem, they're gonna remember that performer, they're gonna remember this moment, they're gonna remember this stanza or this like line or something like that. And you lock yourself into wanting to be that person. Like now you want to be the person that people remember, and it's not necessarily a bad goal, but that shouldn't be the goal. It shouldn't be the thing that drives your writing. It shouldn't be the thing that drives like the themes of your creations. It's really hard to go wrong if you're really genuine and you keep your writing genuine and you keep your creation genuine, but it's hard to do that. A successful poem does its job and lets you do the rest.
Cool.
Nice. Thought you were gonna ask me about all my scandals. Well, first of all,
In drought, I peel your fingers off my body. In rain, my throat. I wake with the sunrise raised against my lashes.